Welcome to the Ohio AgNet podcast. I'm Matt Reese. I'm the editor for Ohio's Country Journal, and I'm joined by the amazing Dusty Sonnenburg, fresh off his Thanksgiving steak feast that he does every year instead of turkey. And today we are joined by Ted Logan, and we're in the presence of royalty here almost. He's the Ohio No-Till Farmer of the Year, so pretty big deal, Ted.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that comment.
So Ted farms in Morrow County, and a long history of no-till, cover crops. Ted, you just want to tell us a little bit of background about the farm?
Well, up until about 15 years ago, we were known for a commercial potato operation, and so that requires plowing, moldboard plowing every 3 years. And when I came back with a degree from Ohio State in the mid-'70s, I was in charge of the dairy operation, and then also the corn and soybeans. So just as a labor savings is how we switched to basically no-till the corn and soybeans. We got out of the potato and dairy operation about 15 years ago, and then went to no-till and just really saw the benefits. But mainly for me personally, the benefit was just the labor savings.
Mm-hmm. And we also, along with being fresh off Thanksgiving and Dusty's steak dinner, we're also fresh off that Michigan-Ohio State game that was, it was a little rough. So my family, Ted may not know, my family has a Christmas tree farm, which I talk about way too much on the podcast probably. But my brother goes out and paints trees, weird colors. A lot of them he paints pink. And we're talking about trees we probably aren't going to sell anyway, little trees. But he paints them different colors because if a little girl gets out of the truck on the farm with her dad and sees a pink tree in the field, guess which one she's going right to, right? So he paints these trees pink and white and purple. Well, he painted some very blue trees. And we had a gentleman come out after the Michigan game, and we're all sort of licking our wounds a little bit after the Michigan game. And he says, I'm going to cut this tree down, and I'm going to take it home, and I'm going to wrap some maize ribbon around it. Well, I said, I don't think I'm licensed to cut that tree down for you, sir. So it's always a little rough business after the Michigan game. Plus, we got a few employees that show up at the Christmas tree farm after that wearing their Michigan hats, and it's just it's tough. It's tough to take sometimes.
That's nasty.
Yeah,
that's harsh.
Yeah, it is. It's rough. It's a rough time of year when that happens. How are you dealing with the loss, Ted?
Well, my employee, of course, is a Michigan fan, or unfortunately is a Michigan fan. And so I'm sure I'll hear it once I get up to the farm this morning here. So he's still kind of roots for Ohio State, but then still my philosophy is that anytime there's any question, you always root against Michigan. So,
yeah, well,
it's going to be difficult.
It's hard to find good help these days. Labor is an issue. So we're going to have much more from Ted. We're going to talk a lot more about the farm and no-till and cover crops coming up. But before that, we've got some really good audio for you. Dusty, you want to tell us a little bit about some of that?
Sure. Dale caught up with Mike Heffelfinger. Mike is a farmer over in Van Wert County. He's a member of the Ohio Soybean Council and also serves on their communication and education committee. So a part of that is the Grow Next Gen program that we've talked about in the past. And Dale visits with Mike sort of to get that farmer perspective. We've talked a lot about the Grow Next Gen program from a teacher perspective or the participants, but this time from the farmers that are actually funding it. So good audio coming up there with Dale and Mike.
Also, I talked with Annie Kachkova with Ohio State University, and she has a farm income outlook. And Ted, it's not a great one. It's not a great outlook. It's a little bit depressing. She talks about some of the numbers she's seeing as she looks ahead. Also, Joel Penor would talk with Tim Trotter with Edge Dairy Cooperative. He's the CEO there, and took a look at the legislative issues facing the dairy industry. So more good audio there. And all that's going to be coming up next in the podcast. And be sure to tune into the rest of the podcast to hear much more from Ted and that audio. All good stuff. And that's in the comments on this post, and it'll be available in the digital email and up at ocj.com. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for tuning in to the Ohio AgNet podcast, and go Bucks.